Ma'mun was one of the Abbasid Khalifas. So Ma'mun was one of the Abbasid Khalifas, and he used to have a yearly discourse where he would open the floor in his court and he would allow for debate. So in one of these debates, there was a gentleman sitting in the crowd who presented his arguments very elegantly. He was very well dressed and he was a very dignified person. So after the sitting closed, Ma'mun called him up and said that, why don't you accept Islam? He was a Jewish man. So he said, I'm not interested. Then 1 year later, he had a similar discourse, and at this point he noticed that this person was a Jew, was contributing to the discussion, and he was now a Muslim. So he was surprised, and he called him up and he said, last year when I offered you to become a Muslim, you seemed very dismissive. Now you are a Muslim, so what happened? So he says that, when I left here, I'm a calligrapher. So I had wrote out 3 copies of the Bible, and I took it to the Christian community and sold it. But I wrote it in a beautiful script, and they bought it for good money, and they praised me for it, and they were very happy. I did the same for 3 copies of the Torah, and I went to the Jewish community, and I sold it, and I took it to the synagogue, and they were all impressed, and they paid me good money. With the Torah and the Injil, the Bible, I made some changes, additions and subtractions, and they did not notice any of that. He says then with the Quran, I made the same additions, subtractions, and I wrote it out beautifully, and I took it to the Muslim community and offered it for sale. And he said the person would pick it up, he would look at it, he would page through it, and he would put it down. He wasn't interested in purchasing it because he immediately detected that there was change in this book. And this is what brought me towards the deen of Islam. So the narrator of the story, he says, I had the opportunity of performing Hajj that year, and I met Sufyan ibn Uyayna, and I said to him that, this person was a Jewish person, accepted Islam because of how the Quran, any change or any adulteration in it was picked up. So he accepted Islam on that basis. So Sufyan bin Uyayna responded and said, what is strange about that? When you look at how Allah refers to the Torah in the Injil, Allah says, Inna anzalna Tawrata fiha Injil bimastahfidhu min kitabillah. That the rabbis and the Jews were given the responsibility of looking after the book of Allah. But at that time, but when it comes to the noble Quran, what does Allah say? Inna anzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafidhun. We have revealed the Quran and we will protect the book. And therefore, the Quran has always been protected throughout time, in different ways. When Tuan Guru was in prison on Robben Island, he wrote out the copy of the noble Quran. That is a living miracle of the Quran. In the previous ummah, it was only the Nabi of the time that was able to memorize the Quran. And subhanallah, the Taraweeh Salah in itself is a miracle of the Quran. At one stage in India, Shah Abdul Aziz Dehlawi, a priest came to him and said to him, I want to put you to a challenge. Let's see what will burn. We'll put a Bible in a fire, and you put a copy of the Quran, and let's see what will burn. And what this priest had done is he put certain substance over the Bible so that it wouldn't burn. Shah Abdul Aziz told him that leave alone putting the Bible and the Quran. Why don't we turn the tables and do it like this? We light one fire, and you holding the Bible in your hand go into the fire, and I will hold the Quran in my hand, and we go in the fire, and we then see who will burn. The priest got a fright of his life and he ran away. But this was the confidence of the ulama that this book, the noble Quran, was protected by Allah, and Allah will continue to protect it. May Allah give us the true appreciation.